Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you in our today's VCM on exploring global capacity building initiatives and opportunities for women members. WMEC of ICA is proud to organize today's VCM under the theme Vishwaguru Bharat as a part of countrywide Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative envisaged by Government of India to commemorate and celebrate 75 years of independence. I'm sure you all will agree with me that our country is truly Vishwaguru, or superior in knowledge treasure in the whole world. From Ayurveda to Indian science, there is more to India that the world needs to know, learn, and adopt. Our institute has always cultivated the belief that development can only occur exclusive of definite borders. It is our continuous mission and drive to have more and more presence at global level to create awareness and global opportunities for the Indian accounting professionals. In today's VCM, our learned speakers will deliberate on the pertinent topics of digital branding for global visibility and opportunities in global markets and benefits of networking. To deliberate on these topics, we have distinguished speakers, C. Shraddha Dedia and C. Meenakshi Birwani. The moderator for our today's program is C. Ashima Sukhani from Jodhpur. She is practicing chartered accountant for about 2 decades. She is also a member of Company Secretary Institute. She has served ICA Jodhpur branch by being a regular faculty at orientation and MCS batches. She holds experience as an auditor advisor spanning across various industries. A master trainer at the ICA, she has mentored and counseled students and professionals alike. Over to you, madam, for taking the proceedings ahead.
Thank you, Secretary ma'am. And a very good afternoon to all of you. We welcome you to the second VCM in the series of AKM, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav activity. It's a very warm and cozy feeling, rather an inspirational one, to start this Navratri, a celebration of womanhood with 2 such dynamic women today. Not only have they proved that accomplishments can be achieved at any age, but have also led by example how humility and success can go hand in hand. I'm very pleased to introduce you to our guest speaker, CA Shraddha Dedia, who has rewritten rules for digital branding and given training to more than 10,000 professionals like CA, CS, LLBs, and MBAs. Shraddha has an 8+ years experience in indirect taxation and finance, speaking and training professionals. Currently, she is working with a startup as an associate director, finance. A favorite among her audience, Shraddha has been a speaker and trainer for various professionals at ICI, DCS, CVOCA, and study circles across India. Her niche lies in consulting professionals on building their digital and social media profiles like LinkedIn, Twitter, Quora, Google, My Business, websites, and you just name them all. She's also been contributing articles on various soft skills and digital branding topics at renowned professional publications like BCAG and CVOC. We are so glad to have you here, Shraddha, and request you to take up our VCM topic in this first session that we have today on digital branding for global visibility and ways to increase professional presence at international level. So over to you, CA Shraddha.
Just give me a minute. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to see.
Okay, and the voice?
Ma'am, your voice is echoing a bit.
Okay. Yeah. Is it echoing again?
Okay. It is fine, ma'am.
And sorry for all the disturbance here. So I think again it's echoing.
Not that much. You can continue with your session, ma'am.
Okay.
We're able to hear you.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone here. And I am indeed very grateful to the team for giving me this opportunity to speak today on this topic, which is professional branding for chartered accountants. It is actually a digital push from being a CA to a digital CA. So today what we'll be discussing is the importance of digital branding for our profession. We have this misconception that being a chartered accountant or having a COP, we cannot be on various social media, which is not the case. We can be on social media, however, we cannot market or solicit ourselves. And that is where this topic becomes important. Now, we might also have questions like, why do we need to be present on social media? Because we as a profession are in itself a need, and it doesn't actually require to show off. I, of course, agree, because chartered accountant as a profession is something which runs on word of mouth. But why we say it is important to have a digital presence has various reasons which I'll be discussing in this session. I'll give you a simple example. Just imagine you have a wedding at your place and you are looking out for a photograph. Now some friend of you refers you.
Excuse me, ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, is it better now?
Yes, ma'am, much better.
So sorry, with digital, this thing comes digital difficulties. So, okay, without again, much ado, let's begin. So the whole topic today is about digital branding. What we are looking here is giving a push to our profession from being a CA to a digital CA. Now, I'm sure people will have these thoughts that, code of ethics doesn't allow us to be on social media or talk about ourselves. Well, that is not correct. We have to follow code of ethics and we can't deny that, but we cannot market ourselves or solicit anyone. But code of ethics does allow us to brand ourselves, and that is what we'll be looking in this session. Again, people will have this query, or maybe people will have these thoughts that being a chartered accountant, our profession works on word of mouth and social presence may not be that relevant. I agree to it because, we are a branded profession and word of mouth does work. But these days, with word of mouth, if you do not have a digital or a social media presence, then in that case, people might not know you well. To give you a simple example, say you have a wedding at your place and say someone approaches or you are looking out for a photographer. Now, a friend of you will refer you to a photographer and they'll also tell you that this photographer is great, I've taken services and he's amazing, etc. Why don't you try him? You will still want to go and check his work either on YouTube, Instagram, etc. that what exactly the photographer is doing and how he is doing. Same happens with us when, potential clients get some reference that you can approach Shraddha for any consultancy, etc. The potential client will still want to go and check. They will still Google, and I'm sure everyone will agree here. They will still go and Google what exactly we do or how strong our presence is on various social media. Hence, being on social media and branding yourselves become very important. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. While this PPT is prepared considering the Code of Ethics by ICAI, should you have any other views on the ideas or strategies that we're providing here, the same can be interpreted in your way. We are not in any way connected to any of the digital platforms that we are presenting here, which means we are only the beneficiary of these platforms. Thirdly, this is going to be a very practical session wherein I'll be discussing importance of social media and various strategies that are available. So the amazing features that we are discussing here is, they are not a thumb rule, something like that, but we've developed this using various, or maybe being users of it. So over the years, we've realized that if we post at a particular time, or if we post strategically in a particular way, then our social brand improves. Now, without jumping to what exactly digital branding is, let us look at some relevant provisions of Code of Ethics. And as and when, I feel that these provisions are relevant, I will discuss with you all. So the first schedule, of course, says that a chartered accountant in practice shall be to be guilty of professional misconduct if he solicits clients or professional work, which means that in any way you cannot solicit or market yourself. But of course, what you can do is you can brand yourselves. Now, if I have to give you an example, say you are someone who sells a donut. Now, what is the difference between marketing and branding? Now, you are selling a donut. If you want to market yourself, you will go to all social media and you will say that you are selling this, or you are selling a donut. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The relevant provisions, because I can see that I'm still on the first page. Code of Ethics, you can see, right? The relevant provisions of Code of Ethics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You are able to see.
Okay, sure. So when I talk about selling donuts, if I want to market, what I will do is I will go to various social media and I will write that I'm giving you offers on selling donuts. You buy one, you get one free, or we are providing these services, etc. Branding in a way is different, because when I talk about branding and not direct selling or marketing, what I will do is on various social or digital platforms, I will go and talk about how a donut is made, or why we really make very good quality donut, or I can share a picture of my team making a donut. Now here what we are doing is we are again trying to build this in our audience's mind that we are selling donuts. If you want to buy really good quality donuts, you can come to us, but we are not directly marketing it. We are nowhere writing or soliciting client to come and buy it from us. We are just telling them that this is how we make this. These are the ingredients, best ingredients that we are using. Similar thing you have to do when you want to brand yourselves on various social and digital media. You cannot directly go and sell your services, but you can always keep writing about your niche or what exactly you are doing, and that will help you to have a digital presence. Use of designations, and I will read it with mention of name. So it says that it is improper for a chartered accountant in practice to state on his professional documents that he is an income tax consultant, cost consultant, etc. Also, it says that it is improper for a firm of chartered accountants to use the designation chartered accountant except on professional documents, etc. However, an individual member may use the prefix CA with his name. Why I have highlighted this is our Code of Ethics does allow us to use the prefix CA before our name, and hence, if you are on social media, on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., if you use the word chartered accountant, it will help you to enrich your search engine optimization, and there is nowhere violation of Code of Ethics. Now, what exactly is branding? If someone has to ask me, I will say branding is the way outside world perceives you or your business. So it is not what you talk about yourself, but it is when someone else talks about you. So when you have developed a social media or a digital brand, nowhere you will write that you are providing these services, but you will keep generating content. So say if you are an expertise into GST on healthcare services, you will start writing content, you will update notifications, etc. And in back of the mind, people will have this idea that you are an expertise into GST on healthcare services. So outside world will talk about you, and that is where you develop your digital brand. Branding is the process of designing and building unique, memorable brand, the creative strategic process of telling potential customers what business is all about. So as I give you example of donut, so you are telling the world what exactly your business is about. And that is what branding or digital branding is. Digital branding is how you design and build your brand online through website, social media, various available options that you have. So again, quickly we'll see what options are available to us, so we understand what exactly branding is. Why digital branding is important? So firstly, it makes interaction very easy. Now today, when we are talking about global opportunities, imagine someone who is not in India and wants to interact with you. They can easily reach out to you on any of your social media profile. And that is what makes digital branding important. Again, it has global market. If you want to provide services globally, using digital modes, you can definitely get in touch with potential clients who are not in your area, and you can reach out to them and you can speak about your services. It is cost effective. Tracking and analytics is something that you get when you are using digital mode or social media. So for every post that you do, you get analytics, that how many likes it has generated or how many interactions it has generated. And again, it has flexibility, which is again, in the sense, say if you have recorded a podcast which is talking about your expertise. Now, if someone doesn't have time to read an article or go through some books, what they can do is easily while traveling, etc., they can just plug into their headphones and hear your podcast. So this is again one way in which digital branding becomes important, because it gives flexibility. People can watch it either on laptop or on phone. That much flexible digital branding is. So when we talk about global opportunities, and if you are really not on social media or on digital platforms, then you are actually not creating your presence or your brand, which is extremely important these days. What are the modes of digital branding available to us? So there are various modes, and I have categorized it. So one is search engine optimization. Then we have social media, content branding, audiovisual branding. The search engine optimization is nothing. We'll directly go to what exactly is search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is practice of using specific goal-oriented strategies. So say if you are an expertise into something specific, as I told you, say you are an expertise into GST on healthcare services. Now, what exactly you have to do here is you have to start using those words as and when possible and to the maximum possible on various digital platforms. It could be your website, it could be Google My Business, or it could be your post on LinkedIn, etc. When you start doing that, what happens is when people search about it, your result on Google will be ranked higher, and that is what you want. I mean, nobody will deny this, that when a potential client is looking for something in Google, and if your name appears in the first 5 to 10 search results, there are chances that they may visit you. But if it doesn't appear there, if it appears in the second page or third page, we are very sure that they may not even go to those pages. So that's one reason. Using specific goal-oriented strategies, words on your website or other social media that you are using will give you a better visibility in terms of when people are searching about you. What exactly we can do to enrich our search engine optimization? So your website has to be really amazing. ICAI has laid down guidelines. The guidelines are really in quite detail, and I would request people to read the guidelines to see if you are already having a website or whether you are following it or not. And when we talk about having a global reach, what I would like to tell people here is start using words, locations that have global reach. So say even if you are in Mumbai and you are open to taking services online, so on your website you shouldn't only concentrate Mumbai. You should start writing various locations where you actually want to get your clients, or maybe you can write something like international, global, etc. So if it's not there, this is your time to work on it and improve your visibility. And website guidelines are quite detailed, so you can anytime refer to those who get an idea that if your website is as per the guidelines or it needs improvement. While developing a website, what exactly has to be taken care is the purpose of the website is met. The purpose is not at all to sell your products or services, but to brand yourselves. So when I talk about a website, you cannot write on your website something like, you avail TDS services and we'll give you GST services for free. All of that is not allowed as per code of ethics. You have to describe your target audience. So whenever I talk, I will give an example of GST on healthcare services. So if your target audience is GST on healthcare services, what you need to do is you have to start mentioning about it on your website. So when people search about you, they will know, because when people generally, potential clients will never go and search simply words like GST filing, etc. So if you are having those simple words and you've not written your expertise or your niche, this is where you have to rework on your website. Your corporate core value should also be there. What do you want your visitors to do after reaching the website? Whether you want them to know what services you are providing, whether you want them to know how your team is, all of that should be covered in your website. Again, what your current, what others have that you do not have on your website is something that you should check about. Now, I will quickly discuss what makes a good website. So, of course, it has to be mobile friendly and easy to navigate. We cannot ignore the fact that these days people look for website on their phones. So if it is difficult for them to navigate on phones, there are chances that they may just press the back button and jump to some other website and maybe connect with them. Should answer basic questions like what is your niche or what information and tools you are providing. Should be optimized for search engine optimization. This is again, every time I speak, I highlight that if you are having a specific expertise, it is important to put it on your website to make it a global reach. So if it's not there, your website may not even have, or your brand or your firm will not even have a global reach. So look for words that you are providing services into and make sure that you have it there. And of course, it should have a professional look because we are into profession and we do not want something which is very funky. Now, Google My Business is again something which many of us are not even using. Google My Business is an application that is provided by Google where you can register your business. It's completely free. And you can write details about what exactly you are doing, your business is into. Basically, it is something like website, but here the benefit of having a Google My Business account is firstly, it improves your search engine optimization. Why? Because this app is actually made by Google itself. So what happens is when someone searches, Google will promote you because it's there on their app. And not only here, but any app that is linked with Google, like Google Maps, etc., Google will show it apparently. So when on Google Maps also people write chartered accountants, and if you are nearby, it will be shown here. So Google My Business is very important. It builds a brand. So on Google My Business account, you will get an option just to show you. I have asked him before. So we just see what exactly Google My Business is. So when I search for JMJ and Associates, I get these details. Can you see here? So it gives you options like what exactly they are into. It client can give reviews, or even your own employees can give reviews. And better the reviews, better Google will promote you. So again, that is one thing why people should have Google My Business account. It gives you option to write your address, your opening and closing hours. You can also attach your various profiles. So say if you have LinkedIn, if you have Instagram or Twitter, etc., you can add here. You can also add pictures. So when someone is looking at your profile, it is not something vague that they will see. As I told you, you can add photos and videos. You can get valuable insights. So Google My Business also gives you a detailed report that who visited your website, what are those keywords that people search that landed to your website. So if you feel that there are keywords which are not ranking high, you can check this report and later keep working on changing these keywords. So this is again one reason why having a Google My Business account becomes important. It makes it easy for client to get in touch. As I told you, you can have your business hours, etc., and shows up prominently in search results. So if you are having a Google My Business account, it will definitely show in search results. Hence, if you do not have, and if you are looking for a global presence, this is something which you should definitely start with. Now, when we talk about social media branding, quickly we'll go through the relevant provisions. As we discussed earlier, you can always have a prefix CA with your name. Again, appearance on e-media. So members may appear on television, films, etc. Special qualifications relevant to the subject of matter may also be given. Firm name may also be mentioned. However, what we have to take care here is, anything what we talk is not promotional of the firm, or it is not an objective of maybe soliciting or marketing. So you can nowhere claim something which is exaggerating. You cannot appear on social media and say that we are better than others. Something like that is definitely not allowed. When we talk about social media, the most used professional social media is LinkedIn. And I'm sure everyone here would be having a LinkedIn account. But LinkedIn itself has so many strategies that we are not following. I can quickly take you through my LinkedIn account to let you all know that what exactly we are missing out on. So when we talk about LinkedIn, we might be having a good professional photo. Again, professional picture is very important, which should only have headshots, but we are missing out of background image. When we talk to people, they tell what we've come to know is 60% of us do not even have a background image. Background image is very important. So background image is something that you see exactly behind my photo, wherein I've written what exactly I do. I'm associate director, co-founder, speaker, trainer. This gives you a chance, because when someone is visiting your profile, this is the first thing that they will do. And if you are having it blank, they might not be, a potential client may not be even interested to scroll down and see what exactly you are having. Apart from them, that you should have a headline that is detailed. I've many times seen people just have a headline which says practicing chartered accountant. This will not help us, because when someone is searching for you, they will not go and search practicing chartered accountant. They will search for something which is specific. If a potential client is looking for GST on healthcare services, they will go there and they will search that GST on healthcare services, and only then your name will appear in the search results. So you have to work on your headline and make it something which is not simply, where you write practicing chartered accountant or a chartered accountant. Again, a summary has to be, something which is quite detailed. I've seen people writing a 2-liner summary. This will not help you. You have to be detailed and start using words that you want people to find when they search about you. So I really want people to find, financial planning and analysis, forecasting, accounts receivable, etc. So you need to put it in your summary and just not write something like practicing chartered accountant with 5 years of practice, etc. It has to be detailed. Wherever possible, you can also give what results you have given. So I have written, I am a result-driven finance professional and I've helped my company reduce overhead cost by 25%. Wherever possible, show results. So people who are visiting will get confidence in your profile. Detail your past experience, get recommendations, and also, add your education skills and certifications. I've often seen that people miss out on that. So even if you have completed some certified courses, add it here. So it will help you improve your search engine optimization. When someone is searching for accounting foundations or pricing strategies, something like that, LinkedIn will endorse my profile because I have added it in my licenses and certifications. And LinkedIn is definitely different from your profile that you make, your firm profile. So because LinkedIn gives you a chance to add much more than what you normally do. It gives you a chance to add your volunteer experience, your skills. Also, taking recommendations is very important. So if you have 0 recommendations, this is the first thing that you want to do to improve your global visibility. Imagine someone visiting your profile and they read that someone else has written something good about you. It will definitely throw a very good picture on them. So LinkedIn, if you are using, make sure that you use it with the right strategies. Next, what we are talking about is Twitter. I'm sure people here who are using Twitter will know how Twitter can actually give you visibility anytime and every time. But you have to be consistent on Twitter. So I've given strategies of Twitter here. People may, of course, take a quick screenshot of this. But it is important to know why you should be on Twitter. So to give a simple example, if you want a global reach, okay. Now I have been regularly I'm giving an example. So I have been regularly putting on Twitter about any GST updates. I keep putting on. Now, people who are using Twitter, say it could be someone who might turn out to be a client later, but if he is reading Twitter and every time he comes across your post, next time when he wants to actually find out what notification has come, they will find it a bit difficult to, go to the income tax or GST portal and then again search for it. But they know that you have been very active on Twitter. You regularly keep posting on Twitter. What they will do is they will visit your profile and see, oh, it's already here. I do not have to go there. I mean, Twitter can actually give you visibility when you least expect it. So it is extremely important to be on Twitter. And we've seen that, 2014 onwards, how Twitter has gained its importance while we were implementing or while we were transitioning from service tax to GST. Twitter was a powerful tool there. I have people, I know people on Twitter who have thousands of followers, and the brand, the visibility that they have created is just amazing. They have started getting global presence. I have, even on my Twitter account, there are verified accounts who are following me, and I feel so happy because I've been very regular on Twitter and it is giving me visibility to a very good extent. So again, Twitter has its own strategies, etc. So if you use it correctly, I'm sure Twitter will help you to grow very well in terms of visibility and global brand. So Twitter is a trendsetter. It gives you fame when you are least expecting it. What you have to do is avoid direct selling on Twitter. Just don't go to Twitter and write, we are providing these services, etc. On any social media, you shouldn't do that. Be creative and interactive with industry leaders. Interact with industry leaders. So say if you are practicing to GST healthcare services, so find out leaders who are into GST healthcare services. So it could be some director of a healthcare brand. So what I can do is I can keep interacting on his post on Twitter. That can give me visibility. It's again two-edged sword. So use it for your benefits and be consistent. Facebook is something which, generally professionally we don't use it, but we cannot even avoid it because Facebook has billions of users. So you can be on Facebook. You can start sharing relevant updates on Facebook, which can give you visibility. And of course, strategies I have highlighted here. This is again a very detailed thing for every social media. If we take strategies, it can go on to an hour or two for every social media. So what I'm trying to highlight here is put on the strategy on the screen and then talk about what is important to be on the social media. Quora is something which is very much unexplored by professionals, by CA professionals. As per my latest study, I think only 3,000 CA professionals are actually using Quora, in the sense they are providing content on Quora, not by just utilizing content. How can Quora help? I will give an example. Few days back, or maybe few months back, someone had posted a query on Quora wherein they had asked, this is my business, this is my turnover. Am I liable to register under GST? I simply went there with an intention to help him. I gave an answer on Quora that, yeah, as per section so and so, your turnover is exceeding XYZ amount, and hence you are liable to register under GST. However, if you have any queries, you can reach out to me. Now, after that, he reached out to me on my email. He said that, since you've said that I'm liable to register under GST, can you help me with registration? Now, just tell me, nowhere on Quora I had been to market or sell services. I went there to help people, but it turned out to be, my client, because he reached out to me and he said that, can we take this forward? And Quora has users around the world. So if say someone has any queries around the globe, if someone has any queries on some Indian statutory requirement, if you go to Quora, if you answer it regularly, they may reach out to you, and you never know, they may even give you the assignment. Hence, being on Quora at least 5 minutes a day is something that I definitely recommend that people should do that. Again, WhatsApp is something which we are using, but we might not be using it in the sense that it gives us visibility or improves our brand globally. So you should start joining groups and circulating updates, participate in discussions on WhatsApp, and share relevant links. It could be links of your posts, blogs, podcasts, etc. WhatsApp for business, if you are not having, this is the first thing that you should do, because WhatsApp for business differentiates from your normal WhatsApp. How it is helpful, it has various features. It has options to provide business timings. So say after 7 p.m. you do not want to reply official queries. On WhatsApp for business, you can just write an auto reply which says that, okay, sorry, we will connect with you tomorrow. These are our business hours. Then you can upload catalog. So we are not allowed to upload catalog wherein we are selling services, but you can have compliance calendar uploaded, something wherein it talks about your services or what your core values are, or also relevant notification updates. I am using WhatsApp for business. What I do is whenever there are notifications, I upload it on my WhatsApp for business account. Now, when people are actually looking for updates, they feel that it is more convenient to quickly just click on my WhatsApp for business, wherein they can easily see those updates. So it starts creating brand for myself, because they will tell others that if you are not finding it online, you can just check Shraddha's WhatsApp for business account. There you can easily find, because she keeps updating it in the catalog section. You can also use label to prioritize work on WhatsApp for business. So you can say something like payment received, work pending. All of those labels are actually available on WhatsApp for business account. I have highlighted strategies like you should keep your numbers separate. You can stop answering post office hours, activate standard messages when you are away, use labels to prioritize work, address and communication features. So on WhatsApp for business account, you can also have addresses and how people can reach out to you. So it is important that you fill it out and do not miss out on it. And again, use catalog in the sense that you cannot sell something on catalog, but you can use it to post relevant updates, compliance calendars, and trust me, start doing it. It will give you a visibility that you never even expected, because people start talking about it. She's been very active on her WhatsApp for business. If I want to see a relevant update, I will definitely go and check Shraddha's WhatsApp for business account. Content branding. So, the relevant provision says that it is not permissible for a member to mention in a book or an article published by him any professional attainments, etc. However, he may indicate the designation chartered accountant as well as the name of the firm. So you cannot have professional attainments mentioned in the books or articles, but you can use the designation chartered accountant there. Content branding what we have to take care is in whatever way you are writing content. It could be a book, an article, or a journal, etc. Be consistent. Content can do the lead generation for you if you are doing it correctly. Because if you start writing every now and then, someone who is reading it will get that confidence that you are an expertise into this. You never know that even another chartered accountant firm, maybe someone in Delhi, can approach you because they have some work in Mumbai. That is how content branding gives you a global opportunity. Because people read about your content, they will get this confidence that you are an expertise into this, and they may approach you for synergy options. then you can start creating blogs and monitoring it regularly. You may use something which is beyond normal tax updates. So rather than writing text, you can start having infographics, wherein you are highlighting something in pictorial format, because this gets chance of people using it more frequently and finding it very easy to use. So use infographics. So infographics, actually what happens is when you start circulating pictures, people have this tendency that they like pictures to read better than what they actually read as text. So they may start forwarding what you've given them. So hence using infographics on various social mode is very important. And once you have published your content, it could be on any mode that we have spoken. So it could be your content could be an article, blog, journal, book, etc. What you need to do is you need to maybe try and publish it on LinkedIn. You can make a video clip of it and upload it on YouTube. You can record an audio as podcast. You can start sharing it on social media so that people know that you've written something, something. And this is nowhere you are soliciting or marketing or selling services. You are just letting people know that you have written a book or an article. You can also have your relevant staff share the post. So these are, small tips and strategies that have helped us a lot. I have been writing a lot of articles. Every time I write an article, I make sure that I upload it on social media, on LinkedIn, etc., on Twitter, that this is my new article if you want to check out. This has actually given me a very good visibility. And the last one that we talk about in the last 5 minutes is audiovisual branding, wherein we are using modes which are in audio or video format and interacting and building a brand for ourselves. We've already spoken about the relevant provisions of Code of Ethics here. What we have to take care is in any educational video, no reference should be made to the chartered accountant firms. Further, it should not contain any contact details. So if you are uploading something on YouTube, in videos, you cannot say that you are from a particular firm, etc. However, YouTube can give you a visibility globally because YouTube is accessible very easily. What you can do is you can have the YouTube page on your firm's name, but in the video, you cannot anywhere mention anything about your firm. Hosting webinar is audio format, and it definitely helps because it helps you position yourself in your field. It is an indirect way of soft sales. It has a global reach, and it gives you interaction, which gives comfort to the audience. When I am hosting a webinar right now, I'm interacting with you all. So it gives confidence to someone who's listening that she might be an expert in all of this. And I'm telling this because I have actually started getting a lot of visibility. I have 14,000 followers on LinkedIn. Again, Twitter, I have thousands of followers, and people interact with my post a lot. And this has not, happened overnight. I've been very active and started creating a brand for myself, which has indeed helped me. So again, lastly, hosting webinar works because it is the new trend. YouTube will also help. So to give you a simple example, of course, the strategies I have highlighted here, why YouTube will help is firstly, video format is something that people prefer. Now, if I want to know how to file a GSTR1, what I can do is either read an article about it, but after reading the article, I will again have to visit the GST portal and do it myself. But if I see a video wherein, they have shown me step to step, that becomes easy for me. So video is something that people remember for very long. If I ask you something, you would have studied in your 4th standard in your textbook, you may not remember. But if I ask you, in your 4th standard, there was a particular movie, and if I ask you what was the hero doing or what was he singing, etc., you might be remembering it because you have seen it. Visuals work better than text. So hence, having a presence on YouTube is again something which is very important. The last one that we have here on the list is Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse. Basically, what Twitter Spaces is nothing but it gives you a chance to interact with your audience live on Twitter. Same is Clubhouse. So here you do not have to keep your video on. You just have to come, select a topic and have candid chats. This has indeed proved to be very good in terms of brand and visibility, because personally, whenever I start using Twitter Spaces or join some Twitter Spaces and contribute, people who are listening, who might not be knowing me, they find it useful, or maybe just they feel that they want to connect with me and they start following me or sending me requests. So Twitter Spaces is amazing for people who actually, want to speak or who loves speaking. So, I will, of course, not even go beyond what we've given. And it was indeed a pleasure taking this session. Through the session, what again, I wanted to highlight people is it is important to be on digital media, social media. And it is also important that you take care that you are not violating code of ethics, because we are bound by code of ethics and we shouldn't. But with the strategies that I have discussed here, and especially if you are not on Google My Business, Quora, or if you are not using WhatsApp for Business account, or if you have a LinkedIn account but you do not have a background image, all of this is something you should start with. And this is where, I will then ask ma'am to take over. And it was indeed a pleasure. And if you guys have any other queries, you can reach out to me anytime, anywhere. And given a chance, later, I would love to take sessions on various social media in detail. That would be indeed my pleasure. And once again, thank you, team, so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to people here. It was all my pleasure. And sorry for the technical glitch that we were having, and hence I had to keep my video off.
Thank you so much, Shraddha ma'am, for walking us through the fine nuances of updating and uploading our social media profiles and teaching us how to do digital branding. I'm sure we are going to use these tips and techniques to ensure our digital presence is a dynamic one. And let me congratulate you. Your presentation was really a very comprehensive and yet very compact one.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being here and sharing your deliberation with us. Now moving further, we have a very young and very accomplished guest speaker, CA Meenakshi Bherwani, who is a prodigy and started her career as an educationist. She tutored CA Foundation students while pursuing her intermediate course and cleared her CA and CS course, bagging scholarships, silver medals, and merit positions. She is a certified mentor of Oxford Brookes University and worked as finance head for 7 years in UAE in various companies like British Petroleum, Reed Hycalog, Royal Group, etc. Then after coming back to Udaipur, her hometown, she set up and introduced Global CA, ACCA, and other international courses. She has been awarded for her contribution in the field of education by various media moguls like Times of India, Dainik Bhaskar, Rajasthan Patrika, Rukmani Foundation, Mirai Ki Award by West Zone ACCA Gold Partner, Big FM's Big Guru Samman, Super 100 Women by Rotary Udaipur, 94.3 My FM, She is Udaipur Top 100 Award, Senior Sindhi Samiti Maharaja Dahi Sen, Nikshar Group Awards for her achievements in the field of education, and awarded as Special 40 Citizens of Udaipur by Rajasthan Patrika. So that's with the small shoulders, she is holding so many positions and, donning so many hats. And Meenakshi, she is currently a partner at a reputed CA firm in Udaipur and the secretary of ICI Udaipur branch. She is the fourth female to be appointed on board and second female appointed as the secretary Udaipur CA branch for the second time in a row in the last 33 years. So that's an elaborate introduction, and I'm really surprised to see such a young chartered accountant, fellow chartered accountant who has inspired so many people. Not only that, she's a motivational speaker and has taken various sessions in many schools, colleges, social groups. So with my whole heart, I request and welcome CA Meenakshi to speak and deliberate on our second session topic, opportunities in global market and benefits of networking. Over to you, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much, Anshima ma'am. Thank you for the elaborate introduction. I will just share my screen. Please do let me know if the screen is visible. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So we'll just start off with the presentation. Actually, the topic given to me today is opportunities in the global market and benefits of networking. Indeed, a very, very interesting topic. And in the introduction, Ashima ma'am also mentioned that I've been working, I started off my career, though as an educationalist, but I have a working experience of 7 years in international market. And that was where I started adapting that information, the working style. When I came back to India, I always had this thing in vision that many of my friends, many of my chartered accountant friends are there in outside the country, staying in UAE, US, UK, all because they feel that the kind of package they can get in those countries is not is incomparable to the package they are getting in India. Of course, if you get an opportunity where you can earn in dollars, sterlings, and pounds and spend in rupees, that's going to be, for the better condition because, staying there for 7 years, I know, and I have interacted with all my friends and all of them feel alike that everybody wants to come back home because it's obviously India is home. So because India is home and if you get an opportunity to get the same thing, same package in India, nothing like it. So we'll be discussing about the global opportunities and the benefits of networking related to the international market, how you can tap in those opportunities. And I'm hopeful that the session is going to help you out. And obviously, if there are any doubts, queries, we'll discuss it at the end of the session. So first and foremost thing is thinking outside the box. So most of us, when we become a chartered accountant, the basic things which strike our mind is taxation returns, audit, and some basic work profile which is well set for a chartered accountant. And these are the areas we start looking in for and tapping in the client, right? But to start off with, I'll just have a simple question. I'm not sure how many of you have gone through this, but yeah, the simple question that Antony and Cleopatra found dead in a villa in Egypt. There are pieces of broken glasses and there is only one witness, which is a dog. They were not poisoned. There were no marks on their body. How did they die? So there's no question of glass pieces going into their body because there were no marks. And the answer to this is, I am sure this is one-way interaction portal. So the answer to this is that Antony and Cleopatra were the fishes. And the dog was responsible for breaking the fish pond and they died because they suffocated. So herein, this was just a starter to make you understand that sometimes we tend to think in a generic way. And there's some people who are able to explore all the opportunities available because they tend to think out of the box. So today in this session, we are trying to think out of the box. And I'm sure the first part of the session will help you a lot because ma'am elaborated very well how to, have a digital presence in the global market. Now, after having that digital presence, how to bank in that and how to basically convert that into revenue. We'll be discussing that in this particular session. First and foremost thing, networking. So there was an elaborate discussion on using LinkedIn, on networking with people via WhatsApp or other social media platform. Let me tell you, there was this one person whom I really admire in my life who's told me one thing which I always cherish and I try to follow is that if you want to be really successful in your life, you need to meet at least one person each day, one new person each day. And by meeting is not just saying hello, by meeting is knowing that person because meeting a new person is as good as reading a new book. So networking is something which is indispensable part of our profession. Until and unless we have a great network of people around, of chartered accountants or the business professional around, it is going to be very, very difficult to tap in unconventional opportunities. Now, again, I'm talking about unconventional opportunities. I'm not talking about the regular opportunities which we have because most of them tend to just, take over the practice set up by their dad or grandfather, and then they continue with that. But then we can add a lot of things to that particular practice. And first and foremost thing, I feel networking the सबसे important part which we should tap in is ICI has given us such a beautiful platform. Now, because of COVID, since last 2 years, we have been having online conferences, online webinars, but in the offline conferences, now I think many branches have started off with the offline conferences and webinars with the COVID restriction, keeping the COVID restrictions in mind. There is a break time which is given during these offline conferences and offline webinars. First thing, I would agree. I really want to agree to the previous speaker when she said that you need to be a part of a lot of opportunities which come across, maybe part of webinars or seminars, because this is how you develop your network. Now, if you happen to attend any webinar or seminar, we need to utilize the break time. And usually what happens is that the break time in every corporate event, most of the international institution events is also given, and it is mentioned that this is the networking time. Now, specifically when they mention it as the networking time, we tend to usually meet our friends, stick to the group, and just communicate on the personal grounds or personal level. When that time exactly should be utilized for the purpose of networking. You need to meet new people who are there, who are part and parcel of the conferences, bank in those conferences by creating your network, understanding what field they practice in. I'll tell you exactly the reason why I'm telling you that you need to understand the field they are practicing into, because when I'm talking about global practice, we'll come on to the later slides and we'll understand that the client needs everything under one roof. Now, we cannot practice in everything. It's not possible for you to practice into FEMA also, practice into international taxation also, at the same time be an expert of IFRS and local taxation and company law. So by creating the network, you exactly know the contact points. If your client happens to ask you for some other support, he should not be required to go to some other person for that support. You should have a great network of all the people who are expert in their own field so that you can recommend and refer them to those people, or maybe, take the project and do it with the help of those people. So this is one particular important thing. And I think we should be following the practice of international institutes like they usually do. Instead of mentioning the break time, we will specifically mention that it's the networking time, because that's the exact agenda of the entire thing. Now with the virtual meets also, it is like a blessing, because you get to network with the people from around the country. Like say, for example, I am a resident of Udaipur, as mentioned by ma'am. So I am from Udaipur without having a need to come or travel all the way there. I'm taking a national level, being a part of a national level event. So this is one wonderful opportunity to network with the people around, across the borders. And there are various international institutes, like if in case you're planning to practice in IFRS, there are various international groups and institutes which conduct conferences and seminars on regular basis, which are again on the e-platform. So COVID-19, post-COVID-19, the working style has changed many-fold times. It's changed completely, drastically, because now everybody is using the digital networks to connect to each other, which is again a blessing, because being a part of those groups, those institutions, and participating in the webinars can help you create your own network. Maybe there you can interact with people, make them understand what kind of areas you're practicing into, and get the projects. Another important thing before we proceed on to this is, I want to discuss one particular thing here. There is on the screen, there are some light bulbs given. Yeah. Can we figure out which light bulb is the brightest? It's going to be very difficult. And even if you're able to figure out, then it's just because of the screen reflection or whatever, because all the light bulbs are of the same voltage. But if I talk about this picture, you can figure out clearly which light bulb is the brightest. I'll tell you why. What is the reason for this? Reason is skills. So another important thing is we need to brush up the skills. As again mentioned in the previous session, that if you are updated, if you have that updated knowledge of what is going on, what are the changes which are being made, and the skills of executing that knowledge, then of course it is going to be very easy for you to get hold of the clients. It is going to be very easy for you to understand how to cater to the needs of the clients. So skills will play a very, very, very important role. ICI also, keeping this in mind, has introduced these optional papers, and in the optional papers you have an option to give international taxation or IFRS papers, right? Because we understand that the need of all these international knowledge, because now the working style has become very, very different as compared to what it was few years before without the digital presence. Another important thing is that ICI has also introduced some post-CA courses for the CA members, which highlight the importance of IFRS, again, the taxation part. So in case you want to brush up your knowledge, you can go in for those courses. And there are various females who are out of practice and they want to come back to the practice, then I would advise them to just brush up the skills, get hold of one field, try to become an expert in one field rather than trying to cater to everything. Instead of that, create your network. Instead of that, understand how many other chartereds are practicing in other field, and you stick to one particular field because this is how you can explore that field, right? So networking becomes very, very important. At the same time, the skills become very, very important because other than being academically equipped, it is very, very important to be technically equipped. Now, I'll give you one example of what kind of skills I'm talking about. So accounting, when I talk about international accounting, there are various softwares on which these accounting portals are taken care of. So UK-based accounting, US-based accounting, they use particular softwares. So once you try to get the knowledge of those softwares, how these softwares are used, the process becomes very, very easy. It becomes very, very easy to cater to the needs of the employees because you can directly download the files and upload them on the portal or give it to your clients in the format which is required by the laws of that particular country. So getting knowledge or getting technically equipped on the software, again, as I said, that we cannot end up learning everything. We cannot end up catering to every country. So maybe if we have a target of catering to, suppose, say, UK or US taxation, or maybe UK accountancy, and we get hold of the softwares which they are using and try to learn one or two software add on to the skills, then it becomes very, very easy for you to adapt to the change, at the same time adhere to the standards and the laws which are being followed in that particular country. Most of the softwares outside India are very, very law friendly. And that means the softwares are updated on regular basis as and when there are updations in the law. So therein, once the software is done, there is nothing much required to be done at your end. Now, this particular slide is all about some of the chartereds who've been saying or talking about the lockdown period, the COVID-19 period, that they have had a lot of not really great amount of income during this period because of the clientele not paying on time, because of the other issues. So I personally feel that every locked door is an opportunity. I mean, there are ways of looking at things. Now you can look at COVID-19 as an evil. Of course, it has been not really kind to the humankind, but at the same time, if we look at the other side of the picture or other side of the coin, COVID-19 has drastically or very quickly brought in that change which is required since years. Digital presence, Zoom was already there. The various softwares which we are using were already there, but we never tried to use it 100%. But because of this COVID-19, it became the need of everybody that we had to shift on to the digital presence. So from small business organization to big business organization, everybody saw that drastic change, that shift over, that movement from offline to online. Now, in my introduction, Ashima ma'am mentioned that I've been running an international education institute. Let me tell you, we've been running the online classes before COVID-19 also. But before COVID-19, our online-offline strength was very different. Like the offline strength was way more than the online strength. But post-COVID-19, the entire concept of boundaries and areas and everything is gone, completely vanished. We now have more strength of online students as compared to offline students. Now, offline students are there, they've increased, by God's grace. But online students are many-fold times, because now we're having people from various countries, various cities registering here, right? Because of COVID-19, the working style has changed, and because for 1 year or 2 years, the people were forced to use digital platforms, and after that 1 year, 2 year, that was a learning process for them. They realized that this is way more efficient, way more easier. So in that case, they found it like really comfortable. Now they are very, very much comfortable with the digital platform. And now most of the people have decided, many companies have decided to switch on to the digital platform instead of using the usual platform. Let me tell you this: the opportunities in global market have gone up many-fold times, and you're getting opportunities which are work from home opportunities. That means to get work in US, UK, Australia, especially these three areas, you're not required to travel anywhere. You can get work from home assignments. And again, from my personal experience, we have been training ACCA students who are expert in UK taxation. They have an idea about Australian taxation. But let me tell you, as a chartered accountant, we have way more idea than that. We have way more idea because our taxation system is the most complex taxation system. If you have an idea how to file returns for Indian tax as per the Indian tax system, if you have an idea how to file the GST returns as per the Indian system, for you, international taxation is gonna be a cakewalk, because it's way more easy, way more simpler. It's not very tough to adapt to that particular system. Plus, most of the countries in UK, US, Australia, they fired a lot of employees during COVID-19 because of the budget issues, because of the lockdown. And then after that, they started hiring people from India, because most of these companies declared work from home forever. They realized that the entire system of digital working or work from home system is very much beneficial because they're saving onto the rent, the electricity charges, maybe the pantry cost and the other costs which is going on if the office is working live. And then as a result of that many companies have declared work from home forever. Now then they realize that if my employee is working from his or her home, how does that make any difference if he's working in Australia, UK or US only, or he's working in India? Doesn't make much difference, because anyways he's working from home. And I can connect to the client, to my employee via Zoom Meet or the internet calling, etc. So then they started hiring people from India. And the reason was very simple, because as compared to the workers in US, UK, Australia, so accountants are very expensive. So highly paid jobs, if you search on internet, the list of high paid jobs in these countries, it is teachers and accountants. These two people are super expensive. So if I'm getting hold of an accountant from India who's charging me way less as compared to the accountant who's residing in Australia, US, UK, then of course I'll go in for an accountant who's in India. And from the point of view of the Indian accountant, he's getting paid in dollars, sterling, pounds. So he's getting a huge amount of payment sitting right here, and still he's spending in rupees only. So that makes a big difference. So let me tell you that there are many countries, as I said, these are the companies. These are the list of few companies. I could not squish all of them in one page, but this is the list of few companies who've declared work from home forever. Forever means, work from home forever, either partially or fully. And what do I mean by partially or fully? There are some companies who've declared work from home partially. That means half of the labor force is working from home and half of the labor force is coming to the office, because they know that they need few workers for the live working operations. But half of the labor force is working from home. Another criteria is the few companies which are working on social media platforms only. They have declared work from home forever. So that's a big thing. That's a big opportunity for all of us. And I think we should completely bank into this opportunity. There's just an instance of the jobs available. If you can see this. So here in the 31 jobs, I just Googled it today itself. 31 jobs, 31,000 plus jobs. Work from home jobs available in UK. As I said, there are 3 places you can target completely because they're paying very well. And there are lots and lots of opportunities available. There is a lot of untapped market there. UK, US, and Australia. These 3 countries are hiring like anything, especially the people who are working remotely. Okay. So first field, which I'm going to discuss today about, this entire thing, that how I can get hold of opportunities, is international taxation. Now, international taxation curriculum is very, very easy. You can get hold of lots of reference books as for the practice of this. One good opportunity of international taxation is also Dubai, UAE. In fact, I would not say Dubai because Dubai is popularly the name we all understand. It's UAE, United Arab Emirates, wherein there are 7 emirates, and they've recently introduced this VAT tax. It was similar to our GST, not much of a difference. And then this was a tax-free country a few years back. And now it's slowly, gradually introducing direct taxes also. That is going to be completely untapped market because UAE does not have its own chartered accountants. Again, another thing is that it has its web portal where the tax returns are required to be filed. So client would be literally indifferent if you are filing the tax returns from India or from there, till the point of time you are filing them correctly. So here there is one big opportunity, and I think most of us have a lot of relatives in UAE. This is one thing you can start off by, getting hold of the returns of your own relatives, and then the connections build up, obviously slowly, gradually. Plus, another important way of getting these clients is internet. If you can go to the, if you just Google it, I have just Googled few information I'll be sharing with you. There are various websites who are providing projects. There are various firms who are basically into taking the projects, international projects, and getting support from the local people, and they pay certain part of the remuneration to the local people, and in between keep the share as their own commission. So there are lots and lots of projects like this which can give an opportunity at the international platform and can help you earn in dollars, sterling, pound, as I mentioned, and still spend in rupees. International taxation, another important thing is UK, US, Australia, as I was saying, in addition to UAE taxation, is very, very similar, or maybe let me say simpler as compared to the Indian taxation system. So you just need to, even if you go through this, you will just understand how the tax returns are filed. Again, the manner of filing the returns is very, very similar. The categories which they've created for the returns is again very similar. In fact, the VAT, the tax, which we refer popularly as GST, here in India, we have different rates for different, products and goods and services. But in most of the countries, the rate is same. It's at GST returns are filed at flat rate. There are no rate differentiations. There's single rate, and single rate system is followed. Right. So in that's what I'm trying to say, that this is a way more easier area of practice, and at the same time more, let me say, more return wala area to practice. Another important thing is IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standards. Now, IFRS are very important for us also because in India also, as we know, that Ind AS have been created or are based on IFRS. At the same time, the stock market registered companies are required to comply with Ind AS, which is again similar to the IFRS. In fact, to that extent that even the terminology and the name of the standard is after IFRS. IS 2 becomes Ind AS 2. IFRS 15 becomes Ind AS 115. So this is the terminology which they have used. The exact copy-paste terminology, of course, there are a few changes. Again, let me put it this way, that IFRS are way more simpler as compared to Ind AS. So Ind AS, if there are, one particular Ind AS has 15 requirements, then the IFRS will have only 5 requirements. So 10 are the additions which have been put up as per keeping in mind the system of our country, keeping in mind the trend which is being followed in our country, right? So IFRS are again way more simpler as compared to India. Now the question is how to get the IFRS assignments. Again, as I said, there are various networking groups. If you just Google it, and plus LinkedIn is one great blessing. As in the previous session, ma'am already discussed that how you can create, the digital presence and get projects online. Of course, the technical knowledge is very, very important to execute those projects. But once you use the digital platform properly to get these assignments, and once you start doing the work, of course, then after that, we know that if you get 3-4 clients, then the process follows. The client will refer the client. IFRS again has various committees, organizations. There are exams of IFRS also. You can probably get diploma in IFRS. And once there is diploma, there are various sessions held of the updations of IFRS. Be a part of the conference. Don't try to miss out on the conference, whether it's virtually or physically, and take that as an opportunity of networking. There are various conferences on IFRS which are being physically conducted now after these restrictions are a little bit relaxed in India itself. And the people who are the part and parcel of these conferences are the people who are practicing in India as well as abroad. And they're also trying to create their network. They're also trying to find out the chartered accountant who can help them with various work. So this is one big opportunity for all of us, because we're seeing that slowly, gradually, the entire world is shifting on to IFRS. So once you are, a master in IFRS, you can easily cater to the accountancy returns and requirements of every country, most of the countries right now, right? Another important area of practice is FEMA. Let me tell you that FEMA is very, very important area of practice and very, very untapped area of practice. Now, why untapped? Because I have personally not witnessed many chartered accountants into this practice. Of course, the places where there is clearance and all required, Delhi, Mumbai, some places with the ports, there are few people who are practicing, but unfortunately, again, it's our area of practice, and we see people who are not even a part of this profession practicing into this. So FEMA is one untapped opportunity we have. So if you get hold of an international client and if he's trying to enter the Indian markets, FEMA is something which can help you out to understand how he can bring the capital inside the country, how the goods can be sent, and what are the restrictions as regards to the investments in Indian companies, whether he can start his own company in India, or whether there's 100% FDI allowed, not allowed. If not allowed, what is the way out? So FEMA is one very good field of practice. Again, as I said, it's more about quality than quantity. So even if you get a few clients who are regularly, who are in need of FEMA consultant, even 4 or 5 clients might help you, earn that much amount of revenue, as much as you can earn by getting, 50, 60 clients or 70 clients of taxation, direct tax returns. So again, not even that, again, the area is untapped, right? So there is not much competition. The people who are actually practicing into this area, most of them are not professionals. Most of them are not qualified. They are just aware about what is there in the FEMA Act and they're doing it, right? So this is one area I think we all need to explore, because eventually if you get hold of a foreign client, you can always ask him to start off his operations in India. And this is one act which is going to really help you out to get hold of that client. Let's talk about digital networking. So now I had to also cover digital networking, or the networking process. How do you need to network to get these projects, to get, if I'm talking about international taxation, if I'm talking about IFRS, okay, fine. These are the areas of practice. This is where we can practice, and these are untapped areas. Now the question is, how do I get the client in these particular fields? How do I get hold of the client? How do I cater to the needs of the client? This is something which is very, very important. And this can be done with the help of networking. Now, digital networking, there was a lot of discussion on digital networking already done in the previous session. I don't want to repeat that information again. It was a very nice discussion, elaborate discussion as to how you can create a digital presence. But for networking, I personally prefer LinkedIn. I think that was also given in detail, the profile, how you can create the profile, what are the small nitty-gritties of creating the profile and getting the network. There is a particular discussion about the connections. So when you enter into LinkedIn, there are connections and the networks you build up. Once you mention your profile in detail, like, I'm practicing in international taxation or practicing in IFRS, there are networks and the connections which are automatically suggested to you, the suggested connections or suggested networks. I advise you to join all of them because anyways, we're not sharing any personal information at LinkedIn. It's more of completely professional. So as many networks as possible, as many groups as possible, as many people as possible, if we can get in touch with. And again, I personally loved the advice which the previous session the speaker gave, was that keep updating the information. So if there is any change, so if you're planning to practice in IFRS, and if there is any change, suppose there was a framework change proposed. So there is a change proposed, if you're discussing about the change proposed, or if you are just putting an article or small thing detailing about your point of view on what are the changes or how this can be resolved, or maybe be a part of apps like Quora, etc., wherein you can just suggest the answers or guide the people who are in trouble or who have questions. In that particular way is the best way out of creating your network, so getting the clients. Another thing is the easier way out, because this profile creation or this way of creation of network is going to obviously take time. It's not going to happen that today you open your LinkedIn profile or today you become active on Twitter and tomorrow you will get hold of the client. No, this process is slow and gradual. This process might take 5 to 6 months time also to get hold of clients. But if there are any assignments you need quickly, right? So you just Google it. There are ample number of assignments. Just Google work from home, UK work from home, or US work from home, whatever field you want to practice in. And you can see ample number of assignments. I've just taken one screenshot from one website, which is FlexJobs. FlexJobs is a website which can give you jobs which are mainly work from home jobs. Right. So these are the work from home jobs which are basically being given in field of accountancy. As I said, that accounting is one field. So if we talk about this, where do accountants exactly play a role? In every company, the branch offices might have one accountant, but HO, head office, will have a team full of accountants, because head office is not required to sell products. Head office is not required to generate income. Head office is just to take care of the various branches, whatever the work is being done in the branches. Now, what happened is that all these companies, the multinational companies, worked at the same structure. There was a head office which was at a distance place, and there were branches which were the revenue branches generating revenue for the company. Head office just involved accountants, the board of directors, the team, the decision makers, everything. So that was completely a spending unit. Maybe if I talk about it in terms of center, head office was kind of a cost center for every organization. As and when the work from home structure started, the organizations realized that we actually don't need accountants to sit there, because it's becoming very expensive for us to pay them, at the same time take care of the rents of the head office, because there were many companies, still there are many companies whose head office is just a cost center, nothing more than a cost center. So if I shut down my head office, then it's a straight saving of revenue. And of course, if it's a big multinational company, has to have a big office, a lavish office. So it tends to save on to my rent, which is a substantial part of the cost. And it tends to save on various expenses. And at the same time, these companies tend to get people, because accountancy work is mainly with the computer system. So a person can go home, take his computer and finish the work in deadlines. Anyways, we know as an accountant, we have to submit certain reports. There are month close, there are quarter close, there are year close. So pressure is anyways there. So there is no check required. You need to submit certain reports every month. You need to submit certain reports every quarter. So if you see to this, on this website is also, it's also written that companies that hire remote accounting jobs, because again, the HO concept has been deleted forever. The concept of HO has been completely removed by various companies around the world after COVID-19. That's one drastic change which COVID-19 has brought, which could not be brought in since so many years, right? And we could never have imagined that something like this is going to happen, that HO concept is going to completely, be deleted from the company's profile, because there's no HO required now. All the accountants can just sit at their home and work at the company's software, and there are some deadlines within which they have to submit their returns or reports, etc. So this is, again, as I said, accounting jobs are something which are big opportunity. At the same time, taxation is an equally good opportunity, because again, the returns are being submitted online. Although the tax opportunity was there already, but now after COVID-19, the accounting job opportunities have increased many fold times, because even the small vendors outside India would be required to have their accounts properly made, have the returns filed. So now the Indian companies, Indian firms, especially, I have seen at least 5 to 6 CA firms in last 2 years grow like anything, because they were trying to tap in the international markets. So especially the Indian firms are now catering to not only big multinational companies. I'm not talking about big multinational companies. It's not necessary to get hold of a big multinational client. So even the people who are, earning very less amount or average amount of income, they are also required to submit their tax returns. They're also required to submit their accounts returns. Now they have also shifted on to the same working methodology, that we are indifferent whether the person who's filing a tax return is residing in US, UK, Australia, or he's residing in India. So they are indifferent about this. So in that scenario, it's a very good opportunity for us, that we can tap in every kind of client. We can tap in, or we can target a sole proprietor, a partnership firm, or a big multinational company. So that's one part of it. Another thing is a very important part of networking, as well as being a part of global market, is team building. As I said, you cannot practice in every field. So if I talk about international taxation, sounds like just a word. I'm saying, okay, I'm practicing in international taxation. Now, what do you mean by international taxation? That means I am also catering to Australian taxation, UK taxation, Indian taxation. Obviously, there is a difference in every tax system, right? So already, if I'm talking about international taxation, I'm already practicing in 4 or 5 areas, right? I'm practicing in UK taxation, in Australian taxation, in UAE taxation. So I need to be updated with so many country tax rates and so many changes in every country. It's not possible that you say that I'm practicing in IFRS also, I'm practicing international taxation also. Again, IFRS have been implemented in 2 manners. First, so IFRS, before IFRS, we all know that there was US GAAP system, which was very popular. Even we were following the US GAAP system. But now, slowly, gradually, there was a balance sheet. I'm not sure if I have this in my system or not, but there was a balance sheet which is generated by a big company a couple of years back, wherein they were working in various parts of the countries, more than 2-3 countries, and they generated this balance sheet and showed that as per US GAAP, they are getting 2 profits. So they were complying to US GAAP, and they were getting 2 profits, 2 different figures of profit. And this was clearly generated and declared by the company in the market that, okay, we have followed US GAAP, but because of this only we are getting this discrepancy, we are getting 2 different profit figures. This is when IFRS decided to tap in the opportunity, because every country has a different system, right? So IFRS decided to tap in the opportunity and popularize their system. And slowly, gradually, they started doing tie-ups with the country. Now, the tie-ups were of 2 types. One was when the country adopted IFRS as such. Okay, I'm adopting IFRS. Now, whatever is IAS 1, IAS 2, IFRS 1, 2, that is what I'm going to adopt. But then country like ours, like we did not adopt IFRS as such. We said we will base our new standards on IFRS. So, as I said, IS 1 there becomes our Ind AS 1, IS 2 becomes our Ind AS 2, IS 3 becomes our Ind AS 3, and so on. But there is some difference between the IFRS and Ind AS. There are some differences. So if I'm saying that I'm practicing in IFRS, that means I have to understand the local accounting standards also and the differences in the local accounting standard in IFRS also. So it becomes very, very important that you build up a team, because you will have to pick one area of practice and then maybe liaison with other people, network it with other people, so that if a client comes to you, he gets everything sorted at one place. So if the client is there, he knows that he needs to contact you only for international taxation, for his accounts return, for his IFRS needs, for his FEMA needs. So for that, you need to develop a big team, right? And that can happen only with the help of networking. So client says, I need it all under one roof, be it taxation, be it entry into the Indian market, be it IFRS, be it company law, FEMA, legal compliances, legal labor law compliances. So we need to develop a network to make sure that we have the contact point of various people, various fellow members who are practicing into these fields, so that we know where we can seek help if our client is in need of some other services, instead of making him run from pillar to post. Make his work easy, he's gonna make your life easy. Law of communication is interaction fuels action. So this is one thing which I firmly believe, that you need to interact with people. As I said before, that as many people you interact in a day with, that is something which is going to help you build up your practice. That is something which is going to really accelerate the speed of your practice, accelerate the number of the projects you are getting. And again, the webinars like this is a very good opportunity, because I have seen people connecting with. So as a speaker, when I take the sessions and seminars, I see people connecting with me post the session. So both of the members are at benefit, the one who's speaking, the one who's attending the session, because the one who's attending the session, if he feels that this is the area of my interest, he'll get in touch with you. If you are the speaker of the session, then you get to be in touch with so many people, interact with so many people at one point of time, and in that case, you can easily build up your network. So this is one thing which I wanted to discuss, network building. I think there's a lot of discussion which has already been given, or discussion being done on network building, networking in the previous session. So I think that's all there. This is where I'll be ending up my discussion. I hope the discussion really helped you. In case you have any queries, any doubts, you can get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to address them. Over to you, Ashima.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. It was very lucidly covered and well explained. And you walked us around the whole, the nitty-gritties of making our presence felt and opportunities which are available globally for chartered accountants. Also, reiterating and re-emphasizing the thought of finding your core competency or niche and networking for the rest of the services. So I really like that you are emphasizing and pushing that we should, even for those females or the others who have, come back to the profession after a gap, they should find their core competency and, just take one thing at a time. So thank you so much, Meenakshi. However, there's something which is coming to my mind, and I would like both the faculties to answer us on that. How could a CA in service tap global opportunities by doing digital branding? I would please ask Meenakshi and also Shraddha, how do you, correlate both the things? Like, we have so far spoken about, the chartered accountants who are in practice and they're trying to find out clients, right? What about those who are already absorbed into the industry and they are into service and they now want to, tap the global opportunities? How could they go about it by doing some sort of digital branding?
So, Meenakshi, ma'am, can I?
Yeah, sure, please.
while the whole session I was talking about opportunities through digital branding for chartered accountants in practice, I am myself a chartered accountant in service, and I have been very active on all social media. Basically, for someone who is into service, it is even more easier to build a digital brand and visibility and improve the global visibility, because for them, the code of ethics work little leniently. So I wouldn't say the code of ethics do not apply to them, but they are quite lenient. So if when I am talking about myself, I am also into service, but it's not that for clients I am being on these social media or digital platforms, but I am being there just to get that visibility. So I think if you are fond, and even if you are not fond of visibility or something, just try once, be on digital and social media and be active for some time. You will see the difference, how people know you and how they approach you, and the networking gives you a lot of benefits because of all this. Meenakshi ma'am can add anything else if she wants to.
Sure, Shraddha. Thank you so much. I think you've covered most of the points, but Ashima, I would just like to tell you a few things like Shraddha discussed about LinkedIn. So I have my profile over LinkedIn, although I'm not looking in for any job or anything. But trust me, I've got like 4-5 job offers in the last 6 months via LinkedIn. Because I keep updating my profile. I have a good network, I've created good network. Also, if you're specifically going in for job only, there are various websites. Like if you have some country in mind, if you are planning to settle abroad after a few years, or you want to tap some opportunities in again international market, you can register yourself on the websites of those particular countries, the job portals. The interesting fact, again, having the working experience in UAE, I'll tell you the difference which is there in hiring process of India and UAE. Not against anything, but outside India, I feel the strict method which they follow is that they hire people through job portals only. They don't hire people with references. So most of the hiring here is like, okay, there is job vacancy in the company. Somebody who's an employee currently will ask his or her relatives to come and attend the interview. But this is completely there is a completely different system outside India. There are job portals. There are some popular job portals of every country. And if you're targeting any specific country, just update your CV on that portal. And the portal are so user-friendly that, you just put the keywords like, accountant or the taxation work or whatever. And there is list of jobs which you get every day. All you need to do is just click the apply button everywhere. They conduct your video interview. And then once you're shortlisted, they ask you about the entire formalities. They get the visa done. You don't have to do anything. And then the visa ticket, everything is done by the employer. Of course, there is certain bond which they ask you to fill, because the visa has a big cost. So if they're sponsoring your visa, they'll ask you to commit for at least 1 or 3 years, depending on the company and depending on the country where you want to go. And once you fill up that form, only after that they apply for your visa and they sponsor your tickets, arrange your stay. Also, many multinational companies would also arrange your stay. So that's one particular method again to get jobs in international market.
In fact, just to add here, I landed my new job. So currently where I'm working, I landed it only because I was very active on LinkedIn. So I got the message from the hiring team that our CEO has actually liked your LinkedIn profile. Maybe because once you are active on various social media, it could be Twitter, it could be LinkedIn, any social media or digital profile that you like. And in fact, I've been taking full-fledged sessions on LinkedIn for people into service. So I can share that PPT also with you. I think if you want, I'll be very happy if you want to share it with your team. So again, people who are in service have great chances to network and build a brand for themselves globally.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi and Shraddha ma'am.
Ma'am, like to both of you, I would just like to ask, like, if you're talking about digital platforms, so how to differentiate between the fake platforms and the, genuine ones? Because a lot of, these days, a lot of phishing and everything is going on. So a word from both of you to how to differentiate between fake social platforms and the real one.
As I said, Shanuji, that there are popular websites. So if you might have noticed, I've told Ashima ji that register yourself on the popular websites of every country. So once when I talk about fake, and again there are few traits. First thing, if I'm talking about a UAE job portal website, most of them will end up with .ae. Plus, there are a list of websites. If you just Google it, that the list of job portals. So majority other websites will not list this website if it is a fake website. So for example, if I just surf top 10 websites, job portal websites in UAE, you can find articles. Now, there will be no one website which will pop up. There will be articles. Articles will be mentioning about the website. So if there are 4-5 articles mentioning about the website, of course, then you get to know that it's a genuine website. I'll just give you one instance which happened to me last month, wherein there was some organization which propagated themselves as students, a team formed by the ex-students, alumni of IIM and IITN teams, which they were planning to do something big, open up something like, Byju's or something at India level. And they wanted us to collaborate with them. I asked them some few things. So being alert is very, very important. And that's really true because there's a lot of phishing and there's a lot of other traps at the internet. So first thing, no genuine website or no genuine job portal outside India is going to ever ask you for money, because the trend is that they take the money from the employer. Whatever package they place you, the first month's salary they take from the employer, not from the employee. Plus, another thing is that most of the companies or the organizations, which are well-set companies, organization, once you get shortlisted, the way of checking whether that company is genuine or not is going onto their website and checking it. Because most of the websites which are well-established companies are very, very different. They look very different from the phishing websites, because the people who are into this entire thing, they'll create a very basic website without much options. So again, this particular company told me that we are forming something like Byju's or something. So I said, okay, fine. Give me the software which you have created, because I need to see the software before we, discuss it further. And I downloaded a software from the App Store which had hardly 5-10 downloads, probably their own friends. And this software was actually nothing more than Class Plus software. So this is where I got to know that this is something which they're just fooling up, or they're trying to brag money. And of course, I told them that I'll be putting up the complaint and and I advise everybody that if you happen to face any such instance, please put in a complaint in the cells, the IT cells, because it might save other people, because you might be as alert as you are, but others might not be. So I think this is one check. Plus, phone numbers are there at the website. You can always, get hold of the phone numbers, call them, check, because most of the websites will end up having fake numbers. They'll never put genuine numbers for the fear of getting tracked. So always check the phone numbers which are there on the website, the email address, whether they're responding or not. Plus, most of the multinational companies have their own portal email address. They'll never use Gmail address. Another very important check, if there is any company which is asking you to send mail on the Gmail account, if it is such a big company that it is hiring employees from India and sending them abroad, they will have their own basic website with their own extension. So like we have the IDs, right? Udaipur@ici.org. They're not using Gmail IDs. So this is something which is very basic. Most of the people who are into this, they will be using Gmail accounts or Yahoo accounts or Hotmail accounts. Again, the reason is they will never go in for such a big expenditure. And plus, if you do such big expenditure, then entire detailing is there. So I can easily get hold of those people. I can get them arrested because they've created a website in their own name. So there are few checks. Other than that, I think Shraddha would want to add something to it.
Yeah. Again, one thing, what I loved about what Meenakshi said is, we should definitely see if they are not asking you for any money upfront. So that is one basic check. Secondly, I generally check is the website is HTTPS and not HTTP. Because when it is HTTPS, S stands for secure or security, something like that, technically as far as I know. So that means that a website is ideally certified as secured. So there are no chances that that website would be a con website. Thirdly, what I do is I also generally check their presence on social media. Because say if they are job providing websites, there are no chances that they will have no presence at all on either of the social media. It could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, or it could be Twitter. So I think these are basic 3 checks. And of course, what Meenakshi added, I think to summarize it, all of this.
Yeah, and Shraddha, one last point I would want to add. Once you're checking their social media account, also go and check from which date they formed their social media account. Again, I'll tell you the same thing, the same instance. The person gave me his social media handle and I went back and checked. He had put on his Instagram page 48 posts, and all the 48 posts were posted on 10th May only. So it is not, that means he created a fake ID and he had posted all those posts together so that because the posts are visible upfront on the Instagram page, that okay, these are the posts. But he did not, expect that I would go ahead and check the dates of the post. And I realized that all the posts were created 2-3 days before he approached me. So that was a quickly made Instagram account. And on the social media, it happens that if you follow 100 people, at least 20 will follow you back. So the followers, people he was following were more as compared to the people who were following him. So I got to know that this was a day's game, which he did. So that is another important check.
Thank you to both of you for giving us such insightful inputs. Ashima ma'am, any more questions from the?
Yeah, sure. Actually, there was one more thing which I wanted you to, there are so many courses which are there by the ICI or other courses that we take up. One in instance is, Indian AS certification or IFRS and all, which are being, done by young chartered accountants. When they say we have taken up this course, now we do not know how to, find clients, right? Or these particular, Indian AS and IFRS are only applicable to the big companies. So how do we bridge that gap between, the particular experience that they have and the companies who need it? So what is your take on that? Or how could you advise them? How should they go about it?
So, now this is something more strategy, you may call it, or whatever. So firstly, as I've also mentioned earlier, it is very important to put it on social media. So, these days we see people put on LinkedIn or Twitter that I'm glad to announce that I've cleared XYZ certificate, etc. So that gives credibility for sure. So when client is searching for you either on Google or on LinkedIn, that he is looking for someone who has cleared DISA or whatever it could be, there are chances that you may appear in their search. So that is very important. So when people ask me, I always tell them that whatever celebration you have, small or big, it is always a good practice to celebrate it on social media, that you have even attended this session. So maybe people who have attended this session, after the session, they may just put a post on LinkedIn or Twitter and tag, women said our official account, and they say, glad to be part of this session. And these are the 4 key takeaways from the session. So this improves the search engine optimization for sure. Secondly, as you said, there are chances that people might be targeting a particular company or an industry. So they can show their interest by liking such pages on LinkedIn and Twitter. And people who are seeking jobs, even for them, this is. So say if I am targeting a company called XYZ, I want to get a job there. If I show interest by liking their page, when their HR is searching for a particular candidate, and this LinkedIn has confirmed, because I've been taking lectures on LinkedIn. So I've done this research. So when their HR searches for a particular candidate, a chartered accountant, for example, and if you are shown an interest in their company by liking, your name will appear, at upper ranking to them. So that is again one trick for people into job that I want to share. Meenakshi,
yes.
Yes.
As far as the assignments are concerned, I think I've already discussed that there are various job portals. There are various portals like Flex Job, I discussed one of the portals, which provides you assignments only. So in case you're not interested in going in for a full-time job, you just need assignments, because I'm talking about WMEC. So many of the females post their baby will not be able to dedicate 100% time, or will not be able to relocate in case the job requires so. So in that case, there are lots and lots of work from home assignments, especially for IFRS. Ashima ma'am, as you asked, IFRS, there are lots of assignments, and especially post COVID-19. And these assignments are actually paying you in dollars, sterling, and pounds. And these are well-trusted organizations, because again, as I said, that you can just go and check their web portal. The big companies who are hiring chartered accountants who are expert in IFRS or who can handle their international taxation. And this is being done completely online. So there are some online portals, some online websites like Flex Jobs, and there are various other websites. Once you Google it, they are giving you assignments. So once you're done with an assignment, if you want, you can take another assignment. If you don't have time, it's like kind of flexible thing which you can follow. Right.
Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am and Shraddha ma'am. There's a query from the viewers. The question is targeted to Shraddha ma'am. How to get on the top of local search results?
Okay, so again, as I told you, for any search results, if you want to, appear on search results, it is very important that on various social media, you are using targeted words. So for example, if you are planning to appear in search, which says that income tax advisory, I'm just giving an example. So it is important for you to update it on your website. Then it could be on your LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever medium that you are using. And if you are targeting a global audience, then it is also important that you mention that word global, international, and synonyms at various places. So just to give an example, whoever has asked this question, I take these sessions with my partner, who is a practicing company secretary. The website is JM Jain Associates. Now, if people go and search best company secretary in Mumbai, JM Jain Associates will appear either in first 3 to 5, because we have ideally managed our search engine optimization very well. So that is one thing. Use keywords, target keywords that you want to appear when people are searching for you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. Meenakshi ma'am, could I please ask you one last question? And you have been such an engaging faculty. Ma'am, there is usually a question which comes to our mind is like, okay, I'm networking, I'm adding people to my network on LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms. So what are the tangible ways wherein my network would help me today? Like what are the, the best takeaways or best tangible things, or let's say some quick things that I could be able to reap benefits of?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, that these networks are not gonna add on to your work upfront. It's gonna take 5 to 6 months time.
Okay.
But I think making it very clear and apparent from your profile that what are the work areas you're targeting. Plus, when at the time of networking, talking to the people that I'm open to these kind of assignments, will always have you at the back of their mind. Like, say, for example, if I am into IFRS assignment and happen to meet Ashima ma'am 3-4 times, and we are connected on LinkedIn, and I know that she's practicing in international taxation. And if I get hold of a client who's asking for international taxation support also other than IFRS, so of course, I'm going to transfer the client to you, because I am not practicing in international taxation. I am just practicing in IFRS. So this is what is the benefit of network. And trust me, I have got a lot of assignments on the basis of this networking. But then again, the thing is that just one-way communication is not good here in networking. You have to listen to the people what are they doing. At the same time, make it very clear and communicate it very clearly to them as to what is your area of expertise. What are you doing, right? Keeping the code of conduct in mind. So that is also, again, very, very important. You have to keep the code of conduct in mind. And of course, I cannot advertise on my page and promote like that. But yes, there are some things which you can communicate, keeping that entire code of conduct in mind. And you can just tell them that these are the areas I'm practicing. And of course, if there are 5,000 people you are connected to, as Shraddha also said that she has 14,000 plus connections. Even I have something 10,000 plus connections at LinkedIn. Although my purpose of being on LinkedIn is not getting assignments, because I have a full-fledged institute, it's completely different, but getting jobs for the students which are there at the institute. But at the same time, these connections will obviously help you out. Out of 10,000 connections, 1,000 connections might get some odd jobs which they are not able to do, but you are expertise too. Out of those 1,000 connections, at least 200 people will think of you. At least 50 will try to contact you, and at least 20 will turn up into an assignment. So this is the ratio how it works. So yes, being constantly there. Digital now it's like digital presence is like our birth certificate. So we need to be digitally present to work in this market. That's very important.
Yes, ma'am. So when you put all the statistics, it makes all the more sense. And we can understand the better and wider the network it is, and more targeted it is, all the more better for your job profile also, for your work profile also. And we need to have patience when we are dealing with social media. So I think we can conclude our today's session. I very heartily thank both the faculties, CA Meenakshi Perwani and CA Shraddha Dedia, who had been patiently listening to our queries, solving them out, and also they have presented an excellent deliberation on the topics. And I would request Shanu ma'am to please give a vote of thanks to both the faculties.
Thank you, Ashima ma'am, and my heartfelt thank you to both the speakers of the day, Meenakshi ma'am and Shraddha ma'am, for deliberating on such pertinent topics today for the benefit of our women members. Thank you, ma'am, and we would love to hear more from you on more such pertinent topics going ahead. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shanu ma'am.